All right, we're back for tonight's episode of the 31 Days of Halloween Masks here on the channel. I've started this like 3 different times with 3 different masks. This is tough. It's I thought it'd be a lot easier. I pick out a mask here and there, and then I stop myself like, no, I want to go even deeper, more special, more off the wall, bizarre, rare stuff that's not so common. So we're going to go on this main shelf here and pick one of my favorites of all time. A lot of these on this shelf are from the 70s or they're prototypes. So we're going to walk down here and I'm going to stop at a certain mask. Which is right here. This really bizarre, creepy mask is called Frankenstein 2001. And this weirdo looking dude came out in 1977. There's a really great 1977 Don Post like catalog sheet, and I'm going to show that to you. And that is where I first saw this mask. I'm going to take him out and put him over here where we're going to take a closer look at him. All right. The good old Frankenstein 2001. He actually has some like little frizzy hair coming off the sides of his head here. This bizarre mask was always what drew me to the mask originally was the strange catalog photo. It looked so weird and had this clear plastic dome. And I never saw one of these in a costume shop. In 1977, I was 5 years old, so I wasn't going to too many costume shops looking for masks at the age of 5. It was more like, 10, 12 years old. That's when I was really getting into these masks. But as I became a serious collector of Don Post masks, I started to pick up the old catalog sheets and catalogs, and I started noticing things out there that really were different and I've never seen before, and this was one of them. I originally got a copy that was really tattered and falling apart, but it had a really nice dome, okay? This plastic dome. This is a real, hard plastic lid. They were more clear than this. They kind of yellow over time. But so I had a really lousy copy with holes in it with a nice dome. And then I had a really nice latex rubber copy with a busted dome. So you probably can guess what I was about to do. I was going to combine those 2 masks to make one great one. So a good buddy of mine, Billy Kirkus, who's a longtime mask collector who I met many years ago on the forums, he's like, send it back to Rob Tharp. Have him touch up some of the paint details on that mask. And Rob and Kathy Tharp, a husband and wife, friends of mine out in California, they were Don Post painters for many, many years. Some of the best painters that Don Post Studios had. If you were wearing a mask by Don Post in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, there's a great chance that Rob or Kathy painted that mask. Rob started painting at Don Post, I think around 1974 or 75, and was there all the way until the end, which I think was 2012 when Don Post Studios finally closed its doors. So I said, who other than Rob Tharp to send this thing to get it touched up? And Kathy Tharp made these amazing eye inserts, okay? I said, let's do this thing upright. Let's get some eye inserts in it. She's really good at making these cool eyeballs. And what they are like a latex rubber insert. They're about this big. And she'll hand paint them. They put them into the mask. And then once the mask was all painted up with the inserts in place, it then went to another friend of mine out in California who did the foam filling on this thing and really made the shape come back. And keep in mind, I had a busted dome the whole time. So my role in this was removing the dome from the old mask, the rivets. These are actual rivets. I mean, the thing was riveted to the mask. Glue would have made it just fall off if kids were running around wearing these, so they riveted that thing on. And it was not easy removing that from the other mask. I was trying not to destroy the other mask in the process. However, I got this thing off perfectly and got it onto this copy. So this is a very rare mask. There are a couple, I've seen like 2 or 3 out there that are really nice originals, you know, with the eye holes all intact. But this one is really creepy looking, the way it has the eyeballs and everything in it. My buddy Billy has one very similar to this that he had repainted, and they just look incredible with all the veins in there. It's definitely a futuristic take in 1977 on Frankenstein, the Frankenstein 2001. Funny how 2001 was a long freaking time ago now, but this is hands down one of my favorite masks of all time. I'll show you a closer look at his brain there behind the plastic. And like I said, that dome should be clear, but just like most plastics over time, it yellowed with age, which totally gives it character though. I mean, it definitely looks like a really old piece. And this mask, you know, I would like to find another one. I'd like to find a real pristine copy that didn't need to be repainted or retouched or have eyes added. I'd really like to find a nice one out there that's totally original. But man, this is pretty spectacular. I think most collectors out there would agree that this is definitely a really awesome piece. So if any of you out there ever find one of these, I am definitely down for buying it. And there was another version of this. Later on, many years later, there was a resculpt done by Jordu Shell. He sculpted a new version of this, like an updated version for Don Post, somewhere in the 2000s, I think. So you'll see another one out there that looks kind of similar. It's a whole different mask. Really cool. Jordu does insane work. But this is, you know, that original 77 release from that creepy old catalog photo. And there's so many great masks. That 77 lineup, boy, there was some killer masks coming out around that time from Don Post Studios. So hopefully you guys dig this episode, because this is a strange, really strange mask that you may never see anywhere ever if you're not in this hobby. And I wanted to share it with you and show you the really weird Don Post 1977 Frankenstein 2001.